NFL edition. We just got done with this here. Well, it's been a hot minute actually, or so. It's technically 2024 now. We ended it off with the Packers versus the Vikings, where they tried to play the rookie, and that did not. I'll tell you, not work out. They had to put out. They brought out the dog Mullins. Nick Mullins had to come out there, former 49ers. But that did not help out. Ty Chandler with the 10 for 40. That was enough for me to win my first ever fantasy championship by 1 point or so. Technically, the league almost dissolved in a way. I mean, it's still the playoff and also going. We're doing it next year, but because of two complaints from two people. But yeah, I'm a champion, ladies and gentlemen. Jordan Love looking pretty decent out there, making all the right throws, Aaron Johns, Packers running back. Aaron Jones looking just a bit better. I mean, looking like like regular Aaron Jones. And Bo Milton, another wide receiver that's kind of young for these Packers. But yes, the Packers, I believe, could win or lose and still end up in the playoffs. Good looks for them. They did look like they were kind of out of it, but a lot of that I feel like was injuries and just a little bit of bad quarterback play from Mr. Pooh, Mr. Love, Jordan Love. But they came out of the hole and they're a playoff team. Young, but that experience helps with Matt LaFleur and his team. Broncos, man oh man, they got themselves a win, but it's against the Chargers team that hasn't been doing it. Even when they had their top guy, their quarterback, they still weren't doing it. This was just pretty much a kicking bowl. Nothing there. Yeah, nothing there. Bengals Chiefs. Who's talking a whole bunch of smack before the game started? It was, I believe, it was Cincinnati Bengals wide receiver, Mr. Shane Moore. Good thing it wasn't T. Higgins also talking smack, because maybe the outcome would have been worse. But yeah, the Bengals got the whooping, and I believe the Chiefs might have already clinched. No. So they pretty much clinched both, or they won their division. So there you go for that. Not great quarterback play, but we know who their number one wide receiver is now. I believe once they get into the playoffs once playoffs start, I believe they're going to start going back to Kelsey a lot more. I feel like those injuries or those nicks he got during the regular season, they probably stopped doing that a little bit. And it was for a second it wasn't working as well because they were just having him all covered up, blanketed up. But Rashee Rice looking like a legit wide receiver. So whoever's facing the Chiefs most likely going to have a problem. More likely going to have problems. And the 49ers got themselves, I believe they got the bye. They clinched for the bye against the Commanders, against Sam Howell and the boys. I don't know, man. Sam Howell, he just makes some passes here and there and looks like he could be something, and then, then gets benched. And he wasn't even supposed to start this week, so you have that. But I don't know what's in his future. But maybe he's a backup. I mean, I don't know. I could see him be more than a backup. We'll see which coach decides to, if he's with the Commanders and all, and hoobity hoobla. Giants Rams. This one was pretty good, even though the Rams looked like they were doing everything they can, but just a couple of just I don't know if it was a bad pass. That one pass from Mr. I don't know who he was targeting, but it was gonna go to the ground, and somehow one of the safeties ended up being there, and they got themselves an interception, and then they just kept having other mistakes. I believe there was a couple of field goals. That's one of their biggest weaknesses, field goals. I hadn't realized it, but their offense is stacked. Ever since Williams has been back, they've been William Cup and Nakua just being healthier, all that put together, and Matthew as well. Matthew's healthy now because Matthew was injured. Obviously not a great from him, but just as a whole team, great. Uh, Defensively, they're here and there, but they're another one of those teams. There's a lot of those teams in the NFL, or that are going to be in this playoff. It's like you don't know. They're not the. You can't say they're the Ravens. Their defense is so stacked, and then they got Lamar Jackson and the rest of the guys. Um, but yeah, the Rams are one of those teams for sure. Not, I don't know if I could say to the level. Maybe they can be to the level of the Ravens. We'll see, man. The playoffs, I feel like it's going to be a crazy one this year because with almost any game that's going to be played, it's just here and there. A couple more things about this, and we'll look at the standings and then little fantasy. How about that? How about that? Buffalo Bills. Um, I'd say not a terrible performance from Josh Allen, but uh, not a great one against a Patriots team that has been playing better. The Giants aren't even. The, the thing is, the Giants' defense isn't bad either, so it's not like these close wins were terrible or terrible wins or anything. I mean, they're in the playoffs, so it doesn't really matter. Which what you got to do in the next Josh. Ravens Dolphins. Yeah, Dolphins taking another L from another good team. Lamarius Jackson out there getting himself 5 home touchdown, ladies and gentlemen. No interceptions, so that MVP conversation is pretty much in the. I mean, I know it's one more game, but I mean, you're not gonna. There's no way he doesn't, but we'll see. Tua had himself not so great, but let's just go ahead and look at the standings real quick. You got the Dolphins. They're still in a good spot technically. 11-5. At one point, they were looking like they were going to go all the way down, but then it was just never. I don't know. It's a here, somewhat similar to last year because they were winning against the good teams or winning against bad teams, losing against the good teams. Obviously, that's how it we determine or moral or society of the NFL people's rights season. Uh, all right, let's go to the Chieftains out here with the 10-6. Obviously, most people probably thought gonna have a much better record than this, but 10-6, you're in the playoffs. You're still probably number one. At least in my eyes, I still see them as public enemy number one. Even though everybody's going with the Lamar Jackson and the defense, Chargers defense. Not that terrible thing. But Ravens defense, Chiefs defense is just they're not the same. Like the defense that was somewhat bad still ended up winning a Super Bowl mainly off of Patty Mahomes and old boy mustaches. Ravens, Cowboys, them Cowboys. How about them Cowboys? Now they got tied thanks to them Arizona Cardinals. Thanks to them and these lows that these Eagles have been going through. Similar to the other teams, they're one of those teams. They're just dangerous. You don't want to face them, but maybe they'll slip and you'll just end up having a pretty good win against them, I guess. Maybe they just mess up in those specific areas. Like sometimes with the run, but the end zone, a lot of these teams in the end zone they defend pretty well. But we'll see what the refs and stuff will let them get out. Okay. 49ers, we kind of already talked a little about 49ers, Rams. um, that you got that one spot that's technically left, since these guys right here in the NFC South, they're fighting for it. These losers over here. And one of them is building up, so they're not technically a loser. Then you got Mr. Mustache, Arthur Smith. Just, I don't know what the hell he's doing, to be honest. But the man has his job, so he must be doing something right. Saints versus Saints. Well, we had that Saints versus Buccaneers game. That was a pretty important game, but Mr. Baker Mayfield had himself a terrible outing. Two two interceptions, I believe. Maybe it was more. Then the pass to Trey Palmer, and Trey Palmer fumbled the ball. That didn't. It was looking like a nice play. That was bringing him back into the. It was still ended up being a close game, um, but the outcome was the Saints. But they're still atop the Buccaneers. So from what it's looking like, because it doesn't show the color. I could just go NFL and just see the what you call it. But let's look a little fantasy, and then we're gonna go ahead and call it. And it's been a good year by FC and all that stuff. I'm a champion now. I can proudly say it, even though those two people, just because something with the draft and they were just being babies, uh, they're good folk and good people still. CD Lamb with the 40. He came up with a 40 piece. Ooh, yeah, that's CD Lamb. Easily, I would say a number one pick next year, right? I don't know about easily because you think one thing and then something happens. Who knows? Training camp, and I don't know if he attends training camp or those camps or those earlier camps gets injured or something. I'm not saying him, but all around. But yeah, I would say he's say you don't get one of the top running backs. Why not get him in the first round? I would say he's worth it. Then again, there's tight ends that are popping up all over the place that could be worth the first round, most likely second round. But yeah, like similar with Kyron Williams, ladies and gentlemen, this man pretty much mid-season, even though Adam Schefter had been talking about him for days and days on end, became a sensation in fantasy land. DJ Moore made himself or him just that. Well, he actually worked with the other quarterback as well. I don't remember if it was to the same level or extent because it's been so long since I even forget the guy's name. To be honest, the backup he was actually playing pretty good. He wasn't playing terrible or nothing. Um, but yeah, DJ Moore resurfaced, and he has been pretty good for anybody that didn't give up on him or traded for him. That's the one thing, man. I need to get good at that. That's one thing, all fantasy wise, that I need to do is just be good at trading. I always feel like they're trying to. The other thing with my league is they're all the people are really competitive, so they're always trying to edge or one up each other pretty much, and the trades are never really fair unless like so one person has like specifically needs a player. That's the only time they're willing to go, and it's unless they're it bothers me, but fantasy's still fun, so I guess it doesn't bother me that much. Even though I finished bottom two in two different leagues, which was pretty sad to be honest, because one of them was the main league that I just because that's the league that I cherish, the league I was born in, fantasy wise. Even though last year was my first playoff in that league, but yeah. Let's look at a couple more players. Jaden Reed, these Green Bay Packers wide receivers, these guys fall out of trees or something. They're doing some good scouting or something. They just got a whole bunch of them that put at least a couple of fantasy points, a good amount, or at least one or two good games or so. Breas Hall with the 27. He might have had the slump in the beginning of playoffs from some of y'all. Hopefully you didn't have, or you had him, but you had enough players where you could get the dub, I guess. Pacheco, man. I didn't know. I still didn't believe that to be possible. I still don't see him as a. I don't know. It's just me personally. I don't see him as a first round draft pick, fantasy wise, at all. Maybe not at all, but I just feel like there's gonna be so much more. I'd rather take a quarterback if I'm in a first round with say a 16 teamer. Maybe that'd be hard. But Travis Etienne, I feel like he is. Um, I don't know. I think somebody said he was a scat back, but I feel like he's a little bit more, just a little bit more, because he's not that small. At least I mean he's pretty powerful and all. So he doesn't play small is what I'm trying to say. And then you got Justin Fields over here looking like he could be in what he. I mean, from the numbers he's. What the heck is this? Uh, uh, from the numbers he's been putting up, Bears look like they're sticking with him. Who knows though? It's the NFL. Any kind of bullshit can go down. But looks like they're sticking with him, and I would say the latest is fourth or fifth round. You get him next year, right? Maybe I'm tripping, but I feel like that's where he's at. Say you get two running backs, two wide receivers, or two running backs, wide receiver, tight end, you go quarterback. If those were correct numbers, maybe they were wrong. Who knows? Devon A. Chan, I actually sat him, and that almost cost me the game because for some, I don't know what I was thinking. I thought he was questionable this week. Maybe he was. I don't know. Maybe he wasn't. But for sure, I don't think Raheem Mostert played. So he got himself 23. And when I seen that, I was just. But then again, it was the morning. The thing where I took measures, late. The day before. I'm like, just in case he's out, I don't got anything to worry. I put a Chandler for the Minnesota Vikings. Still won it for me, but whatever. But yeah, that's gonna be it for today. Good luck to your fantasy people. Until next chance, it'll be just NFL from now on, or until until fantasy comes back. Sabotage.